Da, 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 da. Ancient cavemen drew stick figures mainly because they didn't know how to draw faces like this. Instead, they drew this and called it a face, when a face looks like this. Da, 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 da. Okay, at least this is better than this. And that is pretty much the setting for CHINUA ACHEBE Things Fall Apart, except we don't go too far into the past. This is like the 1850s, sometime that time, when the setting of this book. And so, right now, I'll be summarizing part 1, which, according to the book, is chapters 1 to chapter 13 of Things Fall Apart. Let's get this started with. Alright, so here we go. There's this guy named Okonkwo, and this guy is really, really good at being a man, at least stereotypically a man. He has the stereotypical masculine features. He has muscles, and he has a pretty tall, lean height. He's attractive, and he has beaten up a person who has not been beaten up for 7 years. He's going ahead and he is really good at not showing his emotions. The only emotions that he shows, unfortunately, is anger and impatience. I'm surprised his head is not on fire yet. Regardless though, this is where our story is set and this is what happens. Now this happens a few years before colonization of Africa, like about a decade before. What happens, it goes on something like this. CHINUA ACHEBE set his character Okonkwo into a pretty good setting. Firstly, the first thing that we ever do is that we find out about this guy's past. He had a father named Unoka, and Unoka was known as the laziest person in the town. He was great at speaking and orally and talking about things, and that was considered a great trait in this tribe. However, he lacked in the practical things. While everyone else was breaking their backs, sowing their yams, and going ahead and farming them as well too, this guy would rather go ahead, sit down with the flute on, with his flute, and go ahead and play it, or talk about something that was not important towards feasts or whatsoever, anything at all. Because that all of his harvests failed, and because all of his harvests failed, nothing could be done about it, and he became the laughingstock of the entire time. He was also borrowed money really heavily. In fact, he literally kept a tally sheet of all of the debt that he owned. And the crazy thing is, he never planned on paying any of them back. And so Unoka, by the time he died, had a lot of money in debt. And that burden he passed on to his son, Okonkwo. Now, Okonkwo witnessed all of this as a childhood, and he never had the normal Nigerian childhood. What he got instead was nothing. He earned nothing. Well, every other Nigerian child, when their dad dies, will be inheriting, say, a farm or a hut. He had nothing. All he had to inherit was basically the reputation of his dad. Luckily for him, though, his society didn't base so much reputation on the reputation of their parents or whatsoever from their parents. Instead, their reputation comes from their own hard work. They earn their reputation. They don't inherit their reputation, which is lucky for Okonkwo. Okonkwo then later went ahead and started doing things. He started doing things honorably, and one time he went to one of his wealthy neighbors who had spare yams and begged for some yams and a pretty big portion of his yam harvest for payment. And so this guy was like, I knew normally I wouldn't do this, but I see the difference in your eyes. I'll let you do it. And then later that year, when harvest time arrived, the rain came a little too late, by a few days late, and so everyone's harvest failed. Okonkwo was saddened, and everyone couldn't blame him because everyone's crops also failed as well too. Okonkwo was able to survive that ordeal, and he became much stronger than ever. Also, he decided that he should not show any affections at all, because in his idea, on the big black whiteboard, affection equals womanly love. And womanly things does not equal a man. A man should not show affection. Later on, though, a war is about to break between two villages, and one of the victim villages decides that we do not want to go to war. We will go ahead and give you 2 children as a way to stop this war. One of them will be a young boy. The other one will be a young virgin. The boy's name was Ikene. The virgin was left unnamed. Ikemefuna never saw the girl that he traveled towards this new village with, and he never planned on seeing her again as well too. He was taken in by Okonkwo mainly because he was the strongest of the warriors, as well as probably one of the most great people who can go ahead and take good care of Ikenafuma. And one day, though, he went to him and realized that he showed affection towards him, and he could think about it, but in front of everyone else, including his own son, who he himself was scared out of wits, hoping that this guy didn't turn into a lazy dumbass as well too. He decided that this guy was basically going to be his favorite son, and so Ikemifuna stayed with Okonkwo for 3 years. 3 years! Later though, an oracle arrived and told Okonkwo that, hey, you're going to have to go kill your son, but do not take part in the murder. Someone else will go ahead and kill him for you. Do not take part in the murder, you're too close to the kid. And so when Ikemifuna started being attacked by a bunch of the tribesmen, he was all like, father, father, because he started calling Okonkwo father. Okonkwo though, scared that this would show if he didn't kill his own son, he would not become a man, that he would become a woman. He just went ahead and delivered the final blow into killing Ikemifuna, which I hope he finds out is a foolish decision. Later, Okonkwo realizes that all of this is happening and that he really needs to do something fast. However, later, tragedy strikes. Once one of the oldest person, in fact, he is the oldest person in the village, dies, one of the oldest people in the village dies, he is going ahead and being told into a funeral, he's being put into a funeral, and there's a lot that's happening. Some people sing the songs, and others go ahead and start shooting rifles. However, what happens is, they both went ahead and started trying to get out of Okonkwo's sphere of influence. All of this started happening, and later Okonkwo himself went ahead and went to the betrothal ceremony of the dead guy's daughter and some son, and then he shoots one of the dead guy's sons, which is a pretty big mistake, mainly because this happens. He shoots the gun into the air as a little salute, but then the gun unexpectedly explodes, and a piece of shrapnel goes ahead and pierces the man's heart. And so because of that, he is sent into exile. However, usually this exile is permanent, but since this was an accidental killing, he is only allowed 7 years of exile. He's allowed 7 years of exile, but other than that, nothing else. While Okonkwo is in exile, his old home, is being ransacked by everyone to go ahead and cleanse this land of the bloodshed that has all been happening. And that's pretty much the end of part 1. So I hope you guys enjoyed CHINUA ACHEBE Things Fall Apart, part 1, chapters 1 to chapter 13. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, CHINUA, peace. Bye bye.